Thanks, Lori. This is Joe Brandenburg. I'm the head of Predictive Analytics for Dunn Solutions. I wanted to give you a little bit of background about myself before we go in and talk a little bit more about marketing mix and ROI and how you can advance profits and make a lot more money by using predictive analytics to run that marketing mix practice. Anyway, my name is Joe Brandenburg. I've been performing and managing predictive analytics projects for about 18 years. I've helped a tremendous number of companies in a multitude of different industries make billions of dollars in new revenue and help them avoid big potential losses as well using predictive analytics. I also have expertise in many different industries from financial services, banking, insurance, CPG, retail, higher education, and a whole lot more. And then also, so let's get into a little bit about the predictive analytics practice and what we do here at Dunn Solutions. So basically we have 4 different targeted areas that we really focus upon and really engage with customers on. And that's in marketing mix modeling, which is what we're going to cover today, which helps you to maximize return on marketing investment, higher promotional response rates, and reduce costs by proper planning. And then also we do some loyalty analytics that helps to be more customer-centric, help with loyalty, help with customer retentions, help with employee satisfactions potentially, because you can help to identify problem areas not only for your customers but for your employees. We also do market basket analysis and do targeted campaigns for customers, trigger campaigns, so if there's something that a particular item is purchased or a particular website is looked at, you can look at doing triggering campaigns. You can also look at incremental sales and profits. You can educate your customer service and your sales staff on product strategies. And then also you can look at one of the big ones, which is price elasticity, and then also customer satisfaction. And then also we focus heavily on demand forecasting, so to help improve strategy, help optimize resources and staff allocations, help target higher profits by looking at margin potentially as one of your key sales drivers rather than just pure sales itself, and then also customer satisfaction and employee satisfaction. So let's talk a little bit about a recap. If you're interested in what predictive analytics is all about, I actually had done a webinar back in January, and if you would like to contact sales, you can get more information on that and potentially read on that, and that's about an hour long. We're just going to cover a couple little things really quick here before we get into the depth of marketing mix. So predictive analytics examines patterns found in internal and external data to identify future risks and opportunities. So it is projecting where the best and sweetest nuts will be in the forest, hidden amongst all the trees and the other nuts. So if you look at the little picture there, you can see the guy's kind of surfing through all those nuts there, trying to figure out which ones are good, which ones are bad, and that's kind of what predictive analytics is all about. And then it's also based on where you have been before, what you know about the situation, and what others have told you. And then just to kind of give you a little bit of an idea of how business intelligence has evolved. So predictive analytics is kind of like the GPS of the business intelligence system because it provides the greatest business value by making forward-looking decisions possible. As you can kind of see on this graph here, as you move up in complexity and business value, predictive analytics is kind of on the top of that chain. And it really adds a lot of value instead of just looking at past reporting or potentially OLAPs and data dashboards and scorecards. You now have more of a forward look. So when you actually do your dashboards, you have a forecast and a prediction of what was going to happen and see if that actually did happen. And then you kind of look at traditional reporting and what it brings to the table beyond traditional reporting. So traditional reporting works great for viewing current data. You can understand data warehouses to show historical trends. You can look at 3 to 5 variables and get kind of a feel for behavior. And people are pretty good at identifying big trends and relationships. But what it is not, and what predictive analytics brings to the table over traditional reporting, is the forward-looking, the measurable and traceable, the potential to look at millions of observations and tons of criteria within a model. And then predictive analytics is not just a forecast. So it not only looks, I mean, you can use it to actually data mine into your data and find things, anomalies that you may not have known about. And then why is predictive analytics changing the game? Successful predictive analytics projects are a driving force. The movement to customer-oriented and actual needs-focused organizations is accelerating. And then also, one of the big research firms that looks at this all the time, predictive analytics brings fresh momentum. And if you want to get an idea of a little more about Forrester, actually back in 2013, I was actually rated as one of the top people in the marketing mix game. And then how does predictive analytics lead to better decision making? So as you move towards more analytically driven, you are able to make adjustments. You can listen to others and willing to dissent. It develops out what they call an informed skeptic, which is much different than employees that use what they call visceral decision, which is just based on gut, essentially. And then you have the other end of the box where people are basically just looking at historical reports and making just judgments based on that. And then, so what is marketing mix? So marketing mix can actually be many things. A lot of times it is used to optimize media. It also, companies that use a lot of mass media, so if you're spending a lot of money on television, newspaper, radio, magazines, email, and internet campaigns, doing a marketing mix is absolutely essential, because what it does is it helps you to appropriate how much you're going to spend on each of these different items. And then as part of the marketing mix, it actually allows you to look at each of the different campaigns and how much volume did that drive, and how much was that volume worth as a return on investment. And then, so what is marketing mix? Marketing mix is a set of actions or tactics that a company uses to promote its brand or product in the marketplace. So as you look in the corner there, you can see that there's a diagram of what they call the 4 Ps. So it's price, promotion, place, and product. And as part of a marketing mix, we look at every single one of those components and help you to optimize every piece of that. And then how can marketing mix modeling impact sales? Well, predictive analytics and marketing mix, from what we've traditionally seen over time, is that it drives an average of 40% improvement in marketing campaign effectiveness. And that can even actually be higher if the company has never done a marketing mix in the past. And then it also helps you to optimize your future marketing investments. It also allows you to balance out your short-term marketing and promotion tactics with long-term brand building needs. So what that basically means is what your budget is today and what your budget should be in the future. You can predict that all out. And I'll show you a really neat example of that later on in the presentation. And then what can you learn from marketing mix modeling projects? So you can get a better understanding of ROI of each and every single campaign, whether it's online or offline. So if you're doing a social media project or you're doing TV campaigns, you're doing channel optimizations, you're doing different types of executions, that it can definitely help you to pinpoint what you need to spend and when you need to spend it. And then also to optimize your marketing budget allocation across traditional media as well as digital media. So this allows you to actually look at multitude of different things. So you can look not only at how if you're a retailer and how you're performing your trade and your price reductions, or how you're doing your digital media. So if you're doing campaigns on Facebook, or you're doing Google AdWords, or different things like that, it'll tell you all of the different things, and how many impressions you're getting on your website, and things like that are also possible. And then also it allows you to quantify and place a value and an impact on new digital media. So if you're advertising using Facebook, or you're selling things on Groupon, or you're using a mobile app, or many different things, I mean, methodologies, there's thousands of different things on the web. And then it also allows you to lock in the right mix of marketing investment. You can do that by demand management areas, you can do it by regions, you can do it by country, or you can even use it in new campaigns using some synergistic type products to help you with your go-to-market strategy. And then also it allows you to determine which media vehicles and campaigns are most effective at driving revenue, profits, and share, and consumer segments. And then it also allows you to understand the economic, competitive, seasonal, weather, and operational factors that impact on sales. So if you have a particular different product that is more impacted by weather, so if you're like a soft drink company, or a beer company, or somebody that has a ski lodge or something like that that's majorly impacted by weather, you can track that. You can actually see when there's positives and negatives to those different factors. And then also you can quantify the ROI of improving marketing effectiveness in terms of sales, profits, and helps you better target certain types of consumers as well, and helps you go towards a segmentation strategy. And then so a little bit about Done and our delivery options for marketing mix. So this kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of what we can do and what we have the possibilities of bringing to the table for doing marketing mix. So our techniques, we use proven techniques that have been around for quite a few years to identify relevant factors and what's going to drive your brand and target category growth and quantify their impacts in sales. And then also we focus heavily upon either a unit or volume sales as our dependent variables, so that you can identify which things are driving those sales. And they can actually be split and done in a multitude of series of models, all in one time. And I'll show you a little bit about our automated modeling techniques here in a moment. The solutions are also fully and completely customizable. So if you're coming to us with a potential question, or if you have other factors that you know impact your sales, that data can be integrated into the models and actually give you a result. And I actually have a very nice case study later on that will show you how that can be done. And then you can also implement accounts for pricing actions and merchandising changes that impact growth, and you can tailor-make scenarios and business planning with the outputs from the marketing mix. And then also custom solutions that also allow you to feed us data, or we buy syndicated data from one of the either Nielsen or IRI to be able to bring that data into play so that you can do your strategic planning and your sales projections, and then also do due diligence before you do more new market expansions, help you to mitigate some risks and help you deploy at the right time. And then so what do we do and how do we do it? We actually conduct a consultative discovery up front so that we know what you're looking to do. So we identify the problems. We also work to identify organizational objective alignments. A lot of companies do not do that when they do marketing mix. They simply just take your data, process it, and tell you what you need to know. What we actually do is we actually take that knowledge of what you're looking to do and what kind of questions you're wanting to answer, and actually take those into account as we do our models so that we are looking for those things. And then also, what kinds of issues can you solve with marketing mix? And then also we provide strategic learnings, and then also we help you to develop a roadmap to success, which is very rare. And then also, so what do? So we develop custom models with client-specific data to understand what, when, where, why, based on optimized, simulated marketing and media programs. So you provide us with when you did your campaigns and what type of campaigns they were. If you're purchasing GRP data from one of the syndicated companies, we can take that, or we can go to those companies and get your media data for you. And then we also give you a review of the historic do-tos to determine why and how much each marketing campaign, media, promotion, distribution, operational expenses, competitive effects, and then economic. So we can take data like unemployment, gas prices, which have been huge swings as of late, and determine how much of an impact those have on your business and how much ROI for each of those different elements exists. And then also, we do a custom marketing data management platform where we are able to take all of your data. We can collect it, cleanse it, integrate it into our super fast in-memory databases, and then be able to essentially develop out a machine learning module and then simulations to help optimize the ROI analysis. So as we do your models and continue to get data feeds from you, our machine gets smarter and smarter and smarter and helps us to analyze and bring in all of the different models and be able to tell you what you specifically should be doing, and then also provide you out with simulations. And then it helps you to build additional insightful business reports and dashboards. So that's kind of one of the meat and potatoes where you can, we're giving you what you should be getting from each of these different campaigns, and then also it's measuring those so they're forward-looking rather than saying, well, we think they should do this. And then as part of the machine learning, it gets smarter and it actually helps you to make modifications without having to do scenario playing around and with a lot of different tools that are out in the marketplace that you could spend tons of time and not get an accurate answer. And then we also do custom monitoring to address specific problem areas. And then here's how we kind of differentiate ourselves. We use continuous and actual insights. So we're monitoring your marketing performance, especially if you are wanting us to do it on an ongoing basis. We're looking at it, we're making tweaks, we're making recommendations to you on a consistent basis. And then we're also, in the retail space, we're optimizing your marketing and your trade promotions. So if you have a temporary price reduction that you're doing within a store, or what they call a TPR, or on deal, on sale, for those people who don't have any idea what I'm talking about. And then also you can look at pricing actions. So if you're putting something on sale over a period of time, how much sales is it driving? And then also you can look at the competitive landscape and see when they were putting their things on sale and how much of an impact did that have. And then also you can look at economic indicators, and then on a more customized basis you can look at customer attitudinal insights. And then so we've developed out an automated modeling engine. It's designed to build and complete what they call additive and multiplicative models. Now, for those people that don't understand statistics, Basically, an additive model is it takes all your different variables, so you look at all your different campaigns, all your different trade, all your different media, and then you use units or volume as your dependent variable, and then it comes in and it adds everything together. And this actually works very well for models that are, you know, little smaller data sets, don't have as much data, don't have as many different items, because basically what happens is as you do the model, everything adds together. So as you modify and change one thing in your campaigns, everything else is going to change and it's going to be impacted. And then there's also a multiplicative, or what they call lift-based models, that are used for when you have tons and tons and tons of data and tons of sales, and you want to be able to look at a more traditional store-level detail, for instance. So you would take a particular product in the CPG market, and you would want to look at, I want to know in Walmart and Kmart and Target and Walgreens and all these different companies, how that's actually performing at those different stores in a particular location. And that actually can vary from store to store, and you actually can do pricing zones and different things based on some of that data. And then also we can do deeper dives with custom added on data, and I'll actually show you an example of that here in a couple of minutes. And then, so why are the differences? So additive really is market level modeling. It helps you to better measure your advertising campaigns, so TV campaigns, radio campaigns, that can tend to be either on a national or a market level. And then multiplicative is really good for looking at trade and price. So if you want to look at price elasticity, you would have to do an autoregressive multiplicative model. And then a little bit of background on some of the primary functionality of the automated modeling engine. So it's designed to accept raw variable inputs. So basically, if you have data in pretty much anything, as long as it's kind of formatted in a somewhat of a structure, we can take that data and we actually can incorporate that using what they call mean centering processes to actually be able to model that data and actually build it to the same levels. And then we also do automated variable transformations. So if you have data that actually should be only positive data or positive volumes, it will transform those and it will keep those in a positive form, even though you may have some bad data in your things that you feed to us. And it also has the capability of doing store-level models, market-level models, or even custom hierarchical structures, which is really nice compared to a lot of other models out there where they're mostly customized and from scratch. And then also, as I had mentioned before, the additive and the multiplicative capabilities. And then it also has the ability to run multiple brands at multiple levels. So if you have a brand that has a number of different SKUs, you can actually cut it and actually do an individualized model for each one of those. And then as part of the decomposition process, it actually rolls up all of that data so that you can actually see it at a national level, potentially a state level, a store level, all kinds of different levels. And then how do you strategically leverage the model outputs? So most of our clients are interested in price and promotion insights. So what is the impact if I increase my price by 10%? So you get an elasticity that comes out of the market mix. What happens to my market share when my competitor drops the price 20%? So you can actually see the competitive effects and how much your sales decline based on what your competitor, either in your category or even potentially in a cross category, has impacted your sales. And then, is my trade strategy effective? So am I doing the right displays within a store? Am I doing display by locations? We can take all that data and actually be able to synthesize that and to help you to gain market share. And then how have my strategic accounts fared against each other? So are you getting cherry picking, cannibalization, things like that? We can actually take in a customized setting and be able to take your products against the other products that you offer and identify what's happening to each of those. And then why is my business growing or declining? We can give you directionally what's happening there. We can give you, are you not effectively marketing? Are you not effectively using trade? Are you not targeting the right customers in the right areas and things like that? And then let me go through, and I'm going to do about 4 different case studies here. I'm going to give you an idea of some of the different things that you actually can do with a marketing mix and some of the challenges and things that companies have helped to overcome. So from a top beer manufacturer, they had a very large marketing and media buying budget, and it really was not optimized. And they had many ads that were specific only to top-selling brands, and some of their other brands that could have been top-selling, they weren't necessarily advertising, weren't necessarily getting the message out there. Also, people's tastes have changed, and their awareness of health and things like that are continuing to grow. And also, people want, especially millennials, want to have that specialization. So over the last couple of years, there's been over 10,000 new varieties of different types of beer, and over 1,000 new flavorings have entered the market in just 1 year. So one of the biggest problems that they were having was they had the second highest selling brand of beer in the world, and they were seeing that number one product was starting to lose market share due to new low-calorie alternatives. And then also new product performance was really hard to measure. So they were also getting into the game of building these craft beers and also these very low-calorie alternatives. And they really didn't have any way to measure it because you really need a few months of data to be able to really get a feel for it. And they had looked at some of their other big brands and they just couldn't tell. Also, they were doing a lot of discounts, a lot of trade measurement issues, especially by display by location. So that's where you have differing displays within a store. Particularly this part within a liquor store or grocery stores. And then also they were having issues with category and product management. It had become a nightmare with all these new brands and new things that they were bringing in place. So what were the solutions that we came up with? So we helped them to develop out a category management and business planning simulation tool. That was actually built based off of the gathering of the data from the marketing mix and marketing potentials. We also helped them to develop a forecast simulation tool to predict product performance so that they didn't necessarily just have to guess. And then we also evaluated the competitive framework and display by location analytics and identified over 10,900 different brands that had at least, that made up the 90% of the market share. So, there were obviously some good ones, but we also identified some major gaps and new product potentials for them. Reallocation of some marketing budget to better support what was driving volumes, resulting in a 4% increase in key brand sales and a 40% improvement in their marketing effectiveness. So, over the last couple of years, they had shrunk their budget for a couple of years, and then now they've come back and they've actually increased their budget based on what we told them on saturation curves. So that they had more room to spend and that they would actually drive more volume by doing so. And then let me give you a little bit the soft drink wars. It's been a big topic kind of going around between big rivals, Pepsi, Coke, all these different soft drink manufacturers, and tea and waters, and different things kind of going off over the last few years. So there's actually been a lot of increased competition from larger soft drink manufacturers. And what was happening was the top-selling brand had fallen from number 2 to number 4 in the soft drink category, which was very frightening for them. They also were having a lot of issues with assortment, so where they place it, how much they discount it, things like that. And then, as you probably are aware, customer tastes have changed big time over the last 10 years. And there's a lot of search for healthier alternatives because of a lot of bad press that's come out about artificial sweeteners and high fructose corn syrup and things like that. And then they also believed that they were overspending on advertising and not getting the bang for the buck. And then they had no sense of value versus cost for social media. You know, they were doing some testing on Facebook and things like that, and didn't have any idea. And then also digital technology was disrupting every business at every point in their value chain, and they just had absolutely no idea what digital was doing to them, and mobile and things like that. And then also they were having a lot of increases in ingredient prices, which were driving up their base price and causing them to do constant temporary price reductions or discounting. And then the manufacturer also had no understanding of the operations and the sales impact based on store types, economy, and especially with catastrophic weather. And then extreme weather patterns have expected to persist, forcing the company to deal with commodity scarcity and volatility, was actually a major concern of their executive committee. So what did we do for them? So we developed out a category management and business planning simulation tool for 4 different divisions, for their consumer soft drink division, their orange juice division, their tea and waters, and then their coffee division. We also implemented a forecasting simulation tool, which is similar to the top beer manufacturer, to predict product performance. We developed out a marketing mix with ROI and market development potential. So we actually a couple of different types of models for them, and actually did about 100,000 models over a period of about 3 months that kind of looked at different things within their market development. We looked at all their different SKU types, all their different sizes, so it was 12 ounce or 20 ounce or 32 ounce or 2 liters, and how those are distributed and how they sold at stores, and then also did some market level models and evaluated how those were doing. And then we also developed out some key indicators to evaluate business results and financial conditions, so that they could actually keep track and identify if things were up and coming, what they needed to do. And then also, we looked at the competitive framework and their display by locations so that they could identify what's going on. You know, did they have better slots or worse slots than their major competitor? Since then, so what has happened? So they've returned to the top product to number 2 in the industry, and made adjustments to their non-carbonated soft drinks, so their teas and waters that they have launched, and have actually been gaining market share. And actually, this year they're looking to overtake a lot of the different consumer soft drinks that currently are a little bit down in the hierarchy. And then they've also embraced more digital technology at every point in the value chain by being able to identify what the drivers of those are and how much those are worth. And then they also have a better ability to manage category and keep up with major changes in customer preferences, which was worth about $200 million in global efficiencies that they gained through distributions, through being able to identify and not overstock and not have out of stocks and things like that. And then the category management provided them the ability to better communicate with distributors and retailers about TPR and displays and increase sales by 2% in key displays, and that was worth about $60 million. And then the ability to evaluate the weather patterns and their impacts actually majorly helped them to avoid some of the major weather events, especially cold weather events, and then also allow them to avoid stockouts in some of those locations that people had a tendency to do a run if there was a major hurricane or something coming into an area. And then also we developed out some key indicators to help their management and senior management to better evaluate business results and financial conditions to make changes faster. And then wanted to make sure that people understood that marketing mix is not just for retailers and CPG manufacturers. That's actually where it was born from, but that's not all that you can do. So I wanted to bring in one of the Fortune 100 insurance companies that we actually did marketing mix for. So a subsidiary of a Fortune 100 company that was providing individual insurance services, which this is direct to consumer or through an agent network sales in 29 states, and was facing specific new competition. Much bigger competition had been entering some of the markets. And then also they had some major issues with pricing where they had underpriced some of their health insurance products, and wanted to identify where those key areas were and where they could make adjustments. And then also a lot of the larger competitors, once they had launched in, some of the larger competitors after about a year were starting to react and were quickly gaining back some of the market share that they had lost. So some of the solutions, we performed the segmentation of customers, we developed a forecast simulation tool, we also developed out a marketing mix and marketing potential map and identified how they could actually advertise better, how they could advertise better through their agent networks as well as their direct consumers, online, TV, and then optimize their dollar spends there. And then also allowed them to be able to do market-based assessments to better target customers. This was done through what is called a power ranking report. This basically looks at all the different components that are impacting sales in an area and market penetration and allows you to make adjustments. And then as a result, it transformed the subsidiary into the fastest growing individual health insurance company in the nation at a time when most in the industry were shrinking. It also doubled the portfolio within an 18-month period to over 350,000 customers and $500 million in new annual revenue. And then, so I'm going to give you a little background about the OTC manufacturer, and then introduce you to a little bit about their products. And they had 5 major products that they were manufacturing. They had started to do some segmentation works in geodemographic and socioeconomic, and also had started to do some targeting of the Hispanic market. And the segment manager currently had very little knowledge of what was driving the sales outside of some basic reports. And then senior management had a lot of questions related to advertising and campaign dollars, and is putting pressure on the segment manager to come up with answers. And then, so what did we do for them? So we actually did some media, looked at their media buys, and we looked at what was driving their volume and where they should put their advertising dollars. And these were all the different types of questions that they had about it. So am I buying the right amount, the right type? You know, where should I be advertising? What types of campaigns? What's driving my sales? And then also they had some supplemental questions about the Hispanic market. And then also we're wondering if we could incorporate the cold and flu season data that they had been gathering out from the CDC to answer some questions. So they wanted answers in about a 6-week time period. So we actually took that data, we did some analysis and some background checks with the segment manager, and then identified the sales and data and everything that they needed to be able to do the marketing mix in a 6-week period. So we entered into a multi-year contract where we allowed them to, where we provided the data up front and then also tracking data that they would feed us and then do a quarterly refresh of all the models. And then we used the automated modeling engine, which made it really fast, and it has the baked-in campaign and saturation curves and ROIs. And then also we used advanced analytics, marketing mix to solve a lot of their questions, and then discussed with the client after the fact, after we had done some of the models, if there were things that needed to be modified or adjustments that needed to be made that didn't seem right. So, and then so we initiated, we have a standardized methodology that we actually use to process our marketing mix practice, where we identify, you know, where we pull the data, we do diagnostics, we do all kinds of analysis with it, and then we set up a project management team. That project management team and myself develop out the framework to do the modeling, and then we map out the media types. We also split out the Hispanic stores and the illness densities by custom data. And then we had all that done within a couple of weeks. And then also we developed out the preliminary models in a 3-week period, and then we had additional questions that had come up that I had just mentioned, and then we had did a few remodels and had all the models finalized within a 5-week period. So we were addressing some specific problems. So what is my media buying based on the analysis? Major OTC manufacturers should focus $94 million on TV, $62 million in regional targeting, and then $32 million on national advertising. And these are at different points of time. And then $23 million online, $3 million in print, $82 million on trade promotions, mostly being TPR or temporary price reductions, and $64 million in display by location. And then advertising the business problems and specifics. So we have differing types of saturation curves that actually come into play that you can actually evaluate to see if you are optimizing your spend. And then we also have specific display data that actually allows you to build it in a hierarchical structure. So you can see that there's grocery here. Where it doesn't have one, that's the national level, and then all the different pieces that actually fell into the model. And then you can see how much volume each of those different components drove. And then over to the right, it actually tells you how much ROI that was driving. And then talking about Telemundo, so they had entered into a multi-year contract with Telemundo to do some major advertising for them. Telemundo had recommended that they actually target out the major markets. What it actually turns out is that the OTC manufacturer actually had pretty good penetration of those larger markets, and it actually made more sense to actually help them to target out key underdeveloped markets, and then places where the brand development index had actually not been as large, and then to highlight new campaigns with family values and optimized for shows with high ratings in those markets. And the $5 million reallocation actually drove over $50 million in top-line growth, coming largely from the Hispanic market and the brand developments of historically lower. In addition to identifying that Hispanic market sales, the highest ROI, when there is an effective trade promotion, a TPR was worth about $90 million in top-line sales as well. So it was really huge. And as you can kind of see here on the graph, when we helped them to reallocate their budget, they more optimized their spend versus here where they were over-advertising in a lot of these different campaigns earlier on. And then does the cold season? Absolutely it does. When there's widespread flu and colds, and you reallocate your budget to target those areas that have widespread colds, it was worth about a 28.9% increase in sales and advertising over the non-peak periods. It was amazing. And then here's just a little bit of displays to kind of show you some of the basic forecasts, so some of the volume over time. And then you can see here that there was a wide dispersion in the initial forecasts. And once you make modifications and adjustments to the differing media campaigns and how much carryover each one of those has, then it makes a big difference. And then you can also see that the widespread activity of 755,000 volume. And then so finally, based on this, they were actually able to make adjustments to their strategy and drive more ROI and drive more sales. And then also the segment manager was able to answer all the questions that the senior management had and then make recommendations. And then he also offered up the long-term analytics solution that Dun Solutions had provided. So anyway, so you can kind of see that marketing mix and ROI optimization does drive real bottom line results. And also you can see that additions of keys such as weather, econometric data, and others can be added to studies just like the cold and flu season and to register their impact or non-impact on sales. And then also you can do differing things in some of the key areas that we talked about, which is demand forecasting, price and promotion, category management, clustering, competition analysis, customer segmentation, and loyalty and market investment analysis. So if you'd like to learn any more about marketing mix or any other predictive analytics possibilities, please contact us at sales@dunsolutions.com.